Still Bibbs, what's the deal, man? Yo, peep game, man. Oh shit, I think my dog. Hold up. Yup. Alright, yo, peep game, man. We done had a few days to marinate on my, on the dethroning of my man Anthony Joshua. We've had a few days to marinate on it. Go back, watch the fight, watch the highlights, and it's a few channels that I watch that I really look to for analysis on, on their content, and that's Hatman. How the Hatman Strikes Back in Ring IQ Boxing. My man Julius. Them cats make real dope content, man. One of the many that I listen to. But they both touched on a point as it pertains to, a situation parallel to Anthony Joshua, and that was Lennox Lewis when he lost to Oliver McCall. How he didn't go into an immediate rematch because he had to go through a complete psychological breakdown and rebuilding of himself as a fighter. And he changed his trainer. He did a multitude of things within that past 2 or 3 years, between the the 2 or 3 years that passed in between them fighting, between the first fight and the rematch. And could Anthony Joshua afford to skip out on an immediate rematch with Usyk and go for a fight, where a lighter touch? Could he afford to get in there with a dude with a lighter touch who's probably, top 25, 30 or so, who's in a position to give him resistance, but not enough to the point where he's that big of a threat? Just so he can understand what it feels like to just dominate and domineer over somebody and fight like a big man and uses, Joshua's. Not too many people get to be 6'6", and a lot of people who grow to be 6'6" don't pack on the muscle to be 240, 250. Dude is a beast. Dude is a beast. So could he afford to? I mean, he's built like a football player. Could he afford to go into a fight with a dude who's not deemed as big a threat as a Usyk, so he can regain his confidence and know what it's like to fight as a big man? Yeah, he absolutely could. He could go for that. I mean, you got to think, Joshua's been fighting constant uphill battles since becoming a champion, man. He hasn't had a break, a tune-up fight since becoming a champion. He's honored mandatories, and he's consistently fought contenders. And he hasn't. Only time he skated out of the top 10, I think, was Andy Ruiz, and he wasn't that far. I think he was ranked like 15 or something. And that was only because of Jarrell Miller. Come on back, Jarrell Miller. That's my nigga. I fuck with Big Baby. But he could afford to do that. He could afford to do that and take a lighter touch. He could most definitely afford to do that. But the thing is, they won't allow him to. I mean, they won't allow him to. They'll have something to say if he does. He took a shellacking from Usyk, so it's like, all right, cool. Let me go back in here and get my confidence back and let me know what it's like to reassert myself as a dominant big man in the sport of boxing. Just on physicality alone. They'll find a way to denigrate him for doing that. Oh, he got beat up, so he got to go and look for refuge against, weaker competition and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, damn, man, homie can't win for losing. But it could be beneficial for him. It could be. It most definitely could be beneficial for him, man. The dude he's the only champion that's really, or he's the only heavyweight that's trying to instill greatness. Him, Dillian White, and at this point, Usyk. Those are the only fighters at heavyweight that are forging a legacy to where you will speak on them throughout the ages when they take their last breath. your resume, your contributions to the sport won't, it won't die with you. Those are the only people that's really trying to do that. And with him doing that, he's came up, he's had a few hiccups. He's had a few hiccups because, I mean, the thing is, you can't afford to do this with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, because they may not be as courteous as a Usyk and entertain a rematch. Fury already has a history of getting out of rematches. We still got to see if he makes it to, to October 9th with Deontay Wilder. We still got to see, because of his history. So we can't ignore that. That's a glaring that's a glaring fact that can't be denied. So if you go in there and you fight a Tyson Fury, what makes you think he won't go, try to look for a back door out of the rematch? Yeah, who's to say Wilder's gonna have? Well, I mean, you can't say he won't have a rematch clause, because he had a rematch clause in it for Tyson Fury. But you've always been deemed a bigger threat than Anthony Joshua in the eyes of a Deontay Wilder. So it could just be a one-off. So you could use a tune-up and a few lighter touches between Fury and Usyk, or Fury and Wilder in an undisputed title match. You could use that. I think you could, because you're public enemy number one in the division, which is lunacy to me, because you contributed more to the division than everybody else. Nonetheless, you're public enemy number one. So you can't afford to keep having these hiccups. You had your hiccups. The one hiccup you had, your first hiccup you had, you was able to dominate the next match. You may not. I don't think you're gonna have that easy. You're not gonna have an easy time with Usyk as you did with Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz is not Alexander Usyk. So you can't afford to keep having these hiccups. You can't afford to. In this climate that we living in, me personally, I don't give a fuck if you lose, if you're able to learn something from the loss. Lennox Lewis has 2 knockout losses, and Lennox Lewis can compete with any boxer in the history of the sport. So you can afford to, kick back. You can afford to do that. Do I think you should at the behest of a fucking Bob Arum? No, I absolutely don't. Why? Because had it not been for Bob Arum and Tyson Fury knowing what the fuck was going on with the arbitration, you wouldn't have been fighting Usyk. You've been fighting Tyson Fury for an undisputed title bout. So y'all throw the y'all throw the spikes in the middle of the road on my way to undisputed. Now I'm supposed to sit back and allow, if Tyson Fury wins, I'm supposed to just sit back and let Usyk fight Fury for the belts that I worked hard to gather. I'm supposed to allow him to just go ahead, all right, yeah, go ahead and do your thing. I'll be here waiting. No, this is my legacy we talking about. Usyk beats me in a match that I was supposed to be fighting Fury in. Now I'm supposed to just sit back and just let them do their thing or whatever while I wallow in my loss. I have to watch them go for undisputed. But I was supposed to be fighting in undisputed. But the only reason why I'm not fighting in undisputed is because y'all acted like y'all didn't know what the fuck was going on with the arbitration. So I'm supposed to reward y'all for that. Fuck no. I absolutely don't think you should do that at Bob Arum's behest. If that's something that you decide to do for your own personal assessment and your own, just your own psychological purposes, that's a different ball game. But at their behest, nah. Shame on Bob Arum for even speaking on that. For even like, who the fuck are you? You serious? That's a lot of nerve. A lot of nerve. So me personally, I don't think you too much need. I can see both sides. I understand both sides. Me, you've been down this road before. You lost your titles and you made the proper adjustments and you went back and you got them titles. It's just, this is a bigger task at hand as it pertains to you and Usyk, because Usyk is far more complete of a fighter than Andy Ruiz. And that fight from last Saturday tells me a rematch is not out of the question for you, man. The thing is, you know, yeah, I gave Usyk 7 rounds out of the 12. But you land, if you got to think of the amount of damage you amassed on that man, which means you can hit him. You can hit him. As elusive as he was, you black both of his eyes, you cut him, you could hit him. And you were hitting him at a distance that was beneficial for him. He hit you more than you hit him, but you hit him nonetheless. Fighting a fight that was accommodating to him. So I don't think a rematch is, I don't think a victory in a rematch is out of the question for you. I don't. I feel, like I said, man, you bring in somebody to your team that is used to, you know, that knows how to deal with southpaws, that can train you on how to fight a southpaw and use your size advantage to your advantage. Calculated, you dig? Not just going in there and just, I'm walking through. No, Usyk has a lot more pop than, you know, we believe. When I watched him in Chisora, he was hitting Chisora with pity pat combinations. It was he never planted his feet and sat down on the punches with Chisora. He threw that left hand with bad intentions all night with Anthony Joshua. He proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. But like I said, he's there. He's not there to be hit. I won't say that. But you were able to connect throughout the duration of the fight. So I don't think you winning is out of the question. I don't think it is. You can go in there and win that match. You can go in there and win that. And if you don't, it is what it is. Usyk is just a better man. He's just a better man. But whatever you decide to do, I think that you should do that shit for you. I wouldn't give a fuck about, I wouldn't seek no counsel from no goddamn Bob Arum. Because at this point, as much as I think Tyson Fury is about to go in there and beat the shit out of Deontay Wilder, that he has an ace in the hole with that right hand, and he's looking like he's worked on new ways to hide it. So we just never know. We just never know. But he's already in his mindset that, yeah, Fury's gonna crash Deontay Wilder, then it's on the Undisputed. If you decide to take this seat back and let them go on with that, let that shit be, because, you know, it's beneficial for you. You need to get back on your feet. You need to regain your confidence. Let that shit be for you. But the fact that you're already admitting those were the mistakes I was making in the ring, that shows me, I meant, like, I need to make adjustments in training camp for the next fight. I think you should do that. Or you should think on that. I wouldn't be mad at you either way. Motherfuckers is gonna say the shit that they say. You can spend the next 3 fights on tune-up fights and subpar competition, and you still have the better resume than anybody in the division. So you got my support. I'm riding with you. You one of the fighters that I'm riding with. I ride with you like I ride with Bud. I ride with you like I ride with Manny. I ride with you like I ride with Canelo. You dig me? That's what I'm on, man. I ride with you like I ride with Lomachenko, Devin Haney. People who are really trying to put their best foot forward in the sport and fight. Sean Porter. Legacy. That's how I'm rocking with you, man. Because I think you've forged your legacy enough to the point where the criticisms that come with, you know, that are attached to your name, or, you know, they're unwarranted and they're very unfair. So whatever it is you decide to do, I support it. I do understand what Hatman and Julius are talking about, what you just chilling on Usyk for the immediate rematch. I get that. I get that. And I agree with it. I agree. I understand, because it's like, how do you know, it's a tall task right here. How do you make those adjustments? Can you make those adjustments in one training camp? You have a good fundamental base in the sport, so I don't think it's that hard for you to, to make adjustments. I don't think it's that hard for you to make the adjustments. I don't. I heard Boxing Wave say something like, you need to start sparring like light heavyweights, fleet-footed light heavyweights. I don't know where you're gonna get. I can't think of a southpaw light heavyweight right now that's fleet-footed. The only one I can think of is Bivol. But I mean, I don't know, man. He said somebody else, and I'm like, I've never heard of him before, so I got to go back and look, do some research on him. But I wouldn't be mad at you if you chilled on the rematch. I wouldn't be mad at you for that. I wouldn't be mad at you for that whatsoever. You've been down this road before. You lost the titles, you gain them back. You'll gain them back. You'll gain them back if you're willing to make the necessary adjustments, man. But it should be completely up to you. If you think it's beneficial to you, your career, your psyche, for you to just kind of fall back and chill, then do that. Most definitely do that, man. But if you got the I don't want, people are already saying that you're gun shy because of what happened with Ruiz. That's understandable. That's understandable. I don't think Usyk hits harder than Ruiz. I don't, even though he damn near could have stopped. I think a lot of that shit that was like what you look at is as pedestrian as you did in the 12th round. I think a lot of that was due to exhaustion. Usyk has the better, he has the better gas tank because he's lighter. It's hard to carry that weight for 12 rounds. It's hard to do that. So he has the better gas tank, and he has the better, he has more skills in his repertoire than you do to really exploit exhaustion when it starts coming on. So he has more tools in the toolbox at his disposal from a skill set standpoint to beat you. I think with you, I said it before, it's a conglomerate of size and skill. So I'm not mad at you either way you go. Like I said, you hit him a lot. Even in that 12th round, you landed big right hands. You landed big right hands. You can win a rematch. You can win a rematch. He damn sure can win a rematch because he won the first match. So whatever it is you decide to do, make sure that shit is beneficial to you. You dig? If you want to sit back, you're gonna get the vitriol. That's just one thing that's gonna happen. Especially if Wilder wins. If Wilder goes in here and stretches out Tyson Fury, oh my God, I might be sick. I might be sick. But nonetheless, he would have deserved to win. He would have deserved to win. But if he goes out here and he beats Tyson Fury and you decide to kind of regress on your championship, on just who you are as a fighter with fighting the best opponents available, you decide to regress and pick up somebody from 20, 20 down, 30, between 20, ranked 20 and 30, they're going to have a lot to say about you. They are. But they got a lot to say about you even. I mean, shit, you the only fighter I know who's getting demonized for making adjustments in a fight. I've never heard of that before. He ran. Oh. Using your feet and lateral movement is running. Setting traps is running. Jabbing off of the back foot is running. Except when Floyd does it. I guess so. It wasn't running when Spence did it with Mikey Garcia. It wasn't. It was just, I don't know, man. But nonetheless, whatever you decide to do, I support you. You got a supporter in me. Do what it is that you need to do. But I think the confidence is there So but people can say what it is they want on camera, man. Once you get behind closed doors and it's you and your thoughts, just swimming, you just chilling in the crib and you just allowing your mind to just roam free and you just swim in your thoughts. I don't know, man. I don't know. We not in your head. All we see is what, the interviews. All we see is, the training camp, the fight when it happens. That's all we see. So I'm not too sure, man. That's on you. But how you're leading is showing me that you're confident that you can win a rematch. And you should be confident. What fighter ain't confident? Usyk didn't come out of that fight unblemished. Oh no, I'm not waiting at that red light. Y'all just want to take a picture of me. Ooh, damn, I didn't think I run left this though. But Usyk didn't come out of that fight unblemished. He didn't come out that fight unblemished. It's going, as long as it's going to take you for your eye to go down, the swelling to go down on your eye, it's going to take him that long to close that cut up over his eye. And both of them black eyes to go back to normal. So, you got it, champ. Hold your head up. You be alright. You don't seem to be that much bothered by it in the eye of the public, man. But I'm sure you're hearing the rumblings of the people. You're hearing what everybody got to say. Niggas is gonna say anything. So, like I said, man, whatever you do, I'm supporting you. I'm fucking with you. I'm riding with you, man. Like and subscribe. Let me know what the fuck y'all think, or if I'm burnt the fuck out, man. Peace.